Thank you so much for leading us. We take a segment in our service that we call the heartbeat of the chapel. And I understand there's a lot of guests with us here this weekend. And let me just state this up front. This segment, the next few minutes of our service, uh, just kind of gives some of the background, some of the underlying vision, some of the purposes of why we exist as a church. And it's kind of geared in for the church family, the people that kind of make the chapel home, that come week after week. And so if you're a guest with us, man, another special welcome to you. Please listen in and be blessed, but don't feel like you need to participate. There's no pressure here whatsoever. But we'd like to take this next few moments and just kind of talk about this thing that God has laid in our church heart for the last year called multi-site. And hopefully most of us know what multi-site is now. But the excitement of multi-site has been building to a very contagious level in the chapel, which is really nice and neat to experience. But one of the questions I know I have faced over and over again, even in this last week's, rubbing shoulders with 125 volunteers a night, has been in the area of a multi-site building, the South Campus building. And so I asked my friend Todd up here to give us an update. Todd?
Well, yeah, it's been amazing, weekly and then mid-weekly and daily. I hear from some of you, and you're excited, and both some of you that are planning on being a part of the South Campus, but a lot of you that are here from the Sandusky area, and you're excited too because you believe in what God's doing. And we've had our eye on a building. It's a building at 156 South Norwalk Road. You see it there. And our plan was to be able to open up in February. February is not going to happen at this point, but we're still hoping for a spring launch. And here's what I can tell you by way of update. We've had a couple appraisals happen over the last couple weeks, and it looks like those have been favorable, and that makes things good for the bank and good for us. And we were hoping that even this weekend we were going to be able to announce you and put a big sign on there, and we're not quite there yet, but we're hoping that even within the next week, that could truly be the picture of the Chapel South Campus location. So just continue to be praying for us. Our people are connecting with the building owners even this next week. Contract is being drawn up to make final details and to pursue with full force this building. We've done everything that we can on our end, and we've just been waiting for the things that are out of our hands, and those are the things that only God can do. So it's exciting.
Oh, you're not kidding. Just so you guys know, it could happen this week, it could happen the following weekend, but when you see that second picture with the sign on it, in the announcement loop, that will be code that God has moved in an amazing way here at the chapel, all right? I can't wait for that. But one of the things we just want to kind of get in our hearts is that, man, for the 25 years that we've been a church, that the chapel's been in existence, the chapel's never wanted to just be about a building. That was never God's design for it, to be building focused, to be building centric. Man, the mission of the church, the way we see it laid out in the Bible, is about people. Is about ministry, just similar to what we experienced these last couple of weeks. And so we're trying to balance all that, even though there's so much excitement around this location, that this is really a tool to facilitate the real mission of the church, of people, of ministry. Many months ago, when we started talking about multi-site, one of the reasons why this was such a cool thing that grabbed my heart and many other people's hearts is that it caused the chapel to be very missional. Instead of just bumping out the walls here in this present facility to kind of help the growth issue that we're experiencing here, to actually move the chapel closer to where a lot of you travel every week. to say, you know, we can bring the chapel closer into, you know, closer to your neighborhoods, closer to the people that you work with, you live with, friends, neighbors, associates, all those people. Instead of saying, will you come to church, and it's, you know, by the way, 35 minutes away, you could say, would you come to church, and it's, you know, a little bit closer, maybe 10 minutes away or 5 minutes away even. And so it just really kind of helps bring the chapel closer. It kind of fits into that big picture of what multi-site is: one church, multiple locations. But you're going to show us some more pictures here.
Yeah, you know, what, like Reg said, the heartbeat is not to be about a building, but to be about serving people, reaching people, ministries that meet the needs of kids and parents and families and singles, and so we kind of, as we've been having our eye on this building, we asked our architects to begin some drawings. We asked our team of leaders and point people and staff to just begin to dream, to say, okay, if this building was organized in a way that would be the best for your ministry area, what might that look like? Dream a little. And let me tell you, we've got some dreamers on this team. And they thought big. And some of you got to see some of these pictures of the building at our last SNL night, but many of you didn't get the chance. And so I'm going to just walk you through a little bit of the potential for this building. And we kind of took the dream and said, okay, that's the dream, and then what's really absolutely necessary and needed so that we can stay within a budget and yet build it in such a way that there's opportunity for continued use and growth and for some of those other dreams to become a reality. And so if you look on the screen, that yellow area will be an atrium area where you can just imagine people walking in and sharing life, meeting people, greeters, welcoming new people from the Norwalk, from the South region. As you move further down the yellow, you'll come into a coffee area, just like we have now, where people get that chapel coffee that they look forward to. And then to the right, you'll see the large orange room. That's the worship auditorium, a room that would seat close to 400 people, which really means that this church, even if we were to ever to grow to 3 services, could grow to the point of 1,000 people that could be gathering there every weekend to celebrate what God is doing in their lives. That blue area is some office area. You'll see 2 other orange areas. Those are fellowship rooms where ministry can happen to with new families. A place for a foundation class to begin when people are exploring their relationship with God and wanting to find out more about the chapel, considering becoming members. Then that purplish area, that's nursery. There'll be little babies being held in some of those rooms, and there'll be toddlers with leaders getting down on their knees with them and playing them and sharing the love of Jesus with them. And then if you go to the second floor, you'll see on the left side there that large purple room. That's our upper elementary, kindergarten through 5th grade. Right now it's going to be a wide open room. I'm thinking they're playing dodgeball. They're going to want to play some dodgeball up there. But you can imagine small groups huddled all over that big room. And then below that, the other grayish purple color, it will be a student ministries area where middle schoolers will be meeting on Sunday mornings and throughout the week for other activities. So you can see there's just a ton of potential, and the amazing thing is this building could really be very much like what we've come to know and love here. But it's not about the building, it's about the ministry, the people that will be reaching out together in that area.
You know, as I've kind of been a part of this process, and this really kind of started taking root to a deep level about last year at this time, when we started talking about this to the whole church during the winter months of last year. One of the things that I've noticed and kind of tracked in my mind is how the price tag has changed for this. And I just want to take a moment just to explain that a little bit. When we started out, we were thinking, man, we could probably do this for, you know, about $400,000, maybe $500,000. And the idea there, like many churches that are doing multi-sites are doing, is they're kind of doing a portable church situation, and we can buy all the equipment needed for that price tag. And that's what we were thinking, to find a place where we can rent or lease and kind of pull some trailers up every weekend and unpack and unload, put stage, sound, lights, kids celebration stuff, youth stuff, and then pack that all up every after the weekend and just do that week after week. And so that was the initial thought. And then we had the kind of the commitment Sunday, if you were here during that time, where we had bridges and people came forward and gave. Man, I think there was about $500,000 that was committed, which is amazing to me. And just to give you an update, half of that has already been given, which God is really moving. You can see some of the excitement growing. However, during the summer months and the early fall months, as we've been kind of keeping you all in the same page, hopefully, we had a team, a facility search team, that was just kind of tasked to find a location in that area. And they searched high and low with a lot of prayer and seeking a lot of wisdom. And no doors opened for a leasing or renting situation that facilitated. However, in the process of that, this building that we just saw a picture of came to our attention, and it was one of those situations, honestly, that I really felt like God was saying, you have this plan. I love that plan, but let me tweak it. Let me make it even better. And God has done that in the history of the chapel. I wish I had time to kind of explain some of those stories. But, this is one of those situations where we were thinking one thing and God was thinking so much better, bigger, to really kind of put a home to the South Campus. And so the cost obviously went up, because now we're in a purchasing situation, not in a leasing situation. So as the architect has done his work and as the builder has put numbers to what the architect has done, that we've just watched on the screen, the number now of purchasing and totally retrofitting that campus is between 1.5 and 1.6 million. Now, can I just couch that with some other stats? I said before that we were thinking about bumping out the walls here at this present location, and if we would do that to seat the same amount of people, we would add 300 seats to this auditorium, and that meant we would have to bump out the atrium, bump out the kids' celebration space, the youth space accordingly. That price tag would be about $7 to $8 million. So you can still see that multi-site is such a financially stewardship type thing. The other thing that just to kind of keep in mind is that the price, for leasing or renting a building similar to the building that God is kind of opening up here, would actually be more money than us purchasing the building outright. Which is just, I kind of see God's wisdom in all that, and we'll have something that we own instead of something we have to move in and out of every week, and that can truly be a base of operations.
It's been amazing to see how you guys have responded and bought into the vision that God he seems like he just continues to expand. Like Reg said, and say, look, I've got an even bigger dream than what you guys have in mind. And so we've been continuing to think about, wow, with this kind of cost, and not just to think about the building and the facility, but to think about the ministry that's going to be happening there, and what's it going to take even beyond the building and the renovation, and for this church to function over those first 2 years. We've kind of compared the launch of the South Campus to that of giving birth. And when a couple has a baby, there's often a lot of expenses right up front that are involved in that delivery. And we have to remember too that babies, they don't come out running strong. They come out very dependent. But that's one of the beautiful things about multi-site, is that we're one church in two locations, and we help each other. And so thankful for the church family that we have here that's that's saying we want to help give birth to this new body of believers that's going to be reaching out in a whole new way. And it's a lot, though. It's going to require the generous and sacrifice, right, that we talked about last week. Sacrifice is giving up something of some value for the sake of something even more valuable. And I believe in this, and I know that you guys do too. So it's exciting to see what's next.
In your welcome program, there's a little gift bag, and we did that on purpose. And inside there's a little card, and the idea is this. Okay, don't get wigged out about it. Just the idea is, we're in this Christmas season, and there's an attitude of giving. Many of us survived Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and all the sales that have gone on afterward. And man, I heard this week that a lot of those purchases were actually made for self, not for gifting for others. But if you're a parent, if you're a grandparent, if you're an aunt or uncle, you are also thinking in the back of your mind about giving to your kids. And this is another thing that we would just ask that you just consider, to see what God would have you maybe give to this kid in response, as Todd said, to another child that was born this season, that many of us, our lives have been eternally changed when we accepted him as our leader and forgiver of our lives. The idea is to take that bag, and Bill's going to explain this in just a sec, but bring it back next weekend, and we're going to do some really cool things with that bag, with what you want to give to this effort of birthing this child. Will you bow your heads with me as Bill comes? Father, I love the song that we were just singing before we had this heartbeat segment, talking about Emmanuel, God with us. And Lord, there's an amazing thing that happens when we have a clear understanding that we're not here alone, that you are right there with us. Lord, I know there's people in this room right now that are hurting, either financially or job-wise or relationally, or maybe dealing with a sickness. Lord, you came during this Christmas season a couple thousand years ago so that you could be a demonstration of you being with us. And Father, you have orchestrated in each of our lives to intersect with the chapel at some point. And Lord, all those stories are different. But you did that for a reason, because you put together the people you want to accomplish the mission, the vision that you have given to this church, to each of us being a part of this church. So Lord, as we become a part of this and think through what you want us to do, Lord, help us to remember that, man, you are with us in this too. We could never accomplish this in and of ourselves, but it's what you're doing in us, Lord, and you work miracles. So, Lord, we're expecting one. Thank you so much for being such a powerful God, a close God, a loving God, a forgiving God, a gracious God. In Jesus' name.